What if I told you that the most valuable thing you own isn't your money or your car or your house? It's your time, and you might be spending it completely wrong. Today, we're going to reframe your entire life in a way you've probably never seen it before. So let's just start with a really tough question. We usually think about our lives in years, but honestly, that's a mistake. It's way too abstract. Thinking about your life in weeks, now that's a number you can actually feel. And trust me, it changes everything. And this is exactly why it's so hard for us to zoom out. Life just feels like this, right? You're so busy just trying to stay afloat. Juggling your job, relationships, projects, maybe just crashing on the sofa with a video game, that you never get the chance to look up and see the big picture, to see the whole ocean. Okay, so let's step back for a second and actually look at that ocean. Let's say you're one of the incredibly lucky people who gets to live a full 100 years. From the moment you're born, you are given this many weeks, 5,200. That's it. That is the total budget you get to spend. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Look at how this actually breaks down. If you're 25 years old right now, you've already burned through almost 1,300 of your weeks. They're just gone. And think about it. More than 1,000 of those were spent when you were a kid, a time when you had almost zero control over the big decisions in your life. So what happens in the weeks that we do control? Well, for most of us, our adult life follows a pretty predictable path, broken down into these 3 main phases. And yeah, one of them takes up a massive, massive chunk of our time. And that phase is what we can call the grind. It's about 2,000 weeks long. This is where most of life actually happens. You build your career, maybe you start a family, buy a house, maybe even get divorced and fall in love again. It's that long, challenging, rewarding, and totally exhausting stretch where you go from being young to middle-aged to old. We all have this picture in our heads of retirement, right? This huge, open field of freedom. If you live to be 100, that's 1,800 weeks to do whatever you want. But the reality for the average person is way different. It's closer to 780 weeks. And a lot of the time, your health means that freedom isn't exactly what you imagined it would be. And here's why that 1,800-week retirement dream is pretty much just that, a dream. Hitting 100 years old is like winning the lottery. The reality is that global life expectancy, whether you're looking at 79 in the US or 84 in Japan, cuts that final phase down a lot. Of course, all of these numbers are based on one giant assumption, that we even get to grow old. Because the hard truth is, life is fundamentally unpredictable. Every single day, for every single person, the universe just rolls the dice. And every single day, for someone on this planet, that dice roll comes up with some really bad luck. A sudden illness, a tragic accident. These aren't just abstract things to worry about. They're realities that can interrupt our neat little timelines at any moment without any warning at all. Okay, facing this isn't supposed to be depressing. It's actually meant to bring clarity. It forces us to ask this one crucial question. Thinking about the end helps us figure out what to do right now. So, let's make this personal. Let's take this way of thinking and apply it to the most important people in our lives. I want you to think about your parents. As a kid, you spent almost every single day with them. But after you move out, say around age 20, the amount of time you spend together just changes completely. All right, I need you to brace yourself for this next part. Let's say you make a real effort and you see your parents for 2 full weeks every single year for the rest of their lives. You have likely already used up 90% of the total in-person time you will ever have with them. The time you have left is just the final 10%. I mean, just look at this chart. It makes it painfully, painfully clear. The vast majority of your time together, it's already in the past. That tiny little bar on the right, that's what's left. For most of us, that's a realization that just hits like a ton of bricks. And here's the thing, it isn't just about your parents. This applies to your siblings who moved away, or your best friends from college who now live across the country. For so many of the most important people in your life, you are already in the final phase of your time with them. So now, let's turn that same lens from the people you love to the things you love. What about that passion you once had, that guitar you wanted to master, or those books you always said you were going to write? It's a sobering thought, but maybe you've already done it for the last time, and you just don't know it yet. And what about those connections that you've just kind of let fade? That friend you keep meaning to reconnect with, that family member you want to check in on? We always think there's going to be more time, until suddenly there isn't. Look,
The takeaway from all of this is not despair, it's empowerment. Your life is an incredible, finite gift. This whole perspective isn't about creating anxiety, it's about creating intention. It's about making conscious, deliberate decisions about who and what truly matters to you. So the real question isn't about how many weeks you have left in your life, it's about what you're going to do with the one you have right in front of you.